all. I, Miss Karuna Shinde, research scholar, research scholar at SPIT, welcome you all to the sixth day of the 2 weeks credit course on research and publication ethics. Today we have two sessions. Our first session is on philosophy and ethics, Introduction to Philosophy Ethics. The speaker of today's session is Professor N. Usha Rani. She is a dean.
Karuna,
Yes,
there
sir.
is no second session. Only
Okay.
Usha madam is taking. Only
Sujata
her session is.
madam's
No, no,
session is not there.
she's not taking.
Okay.
Only Usha madam session
Yeah.
is there. So she can take as long as she wants. No problem.
Okay. So we have only one session today, which is on philosophy and ethics, Introduction to Philosophy Ethics. The speaker of this session is Professor N. Usha Rani. She is a Dean, Professor, and Head of Global Center of Excellence in UAV Technologies at Vignans University, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. She has around 23 plus years of experience in the field of teaching. She has received the doctoral degree in the field of medical imaging from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Anandpur in 2013. She was the principal investigator for three government funded research projects from various funding agencies like AICT and DSD, Government of India. Her research area includes biomedical signal and image processing, VLSI, instrumentation and automation, and her area of interest includes Python programming, machine learning, and deep learning. She is also working on development of agriculture spraying drone for disease detection and selective spraying. She has written around 145 plus research articles published in reputed journals and international conferences. Her publication topics include Internet of Things, data preparation, diseases, geophysical image processing, handicapped aids, hyperspectral imaging, and many more. She is also a school research board member, secretary, steering committee member CEPD, dean of training and placement cell of Vignans University, chairperson of VEDE and ICC committee. She is also acting as a research forum coordinator, NBA and NAC coordinator, member of Board of Studies, Vignans University. She has guided and supervised 25 plus MTech and PhD scholars as well as 50 plus BTech students. On behalf of Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, I welcome ma'am for this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Karuna, for your elaborate introduction. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, ma'am.
Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank Srinivas Reddy sir for giving this opportunity, and at the same time, I'm glad to interact you all. To my best effort, I'm going to give you the good presentation on this philosophy and ethics, which is a very, very interesting and important topic for any researchers. So the talk on today's talk is title of the talk is philosophy and ethics. Contents of the talk is introduction to philosophy, definition, nature and scope, branches of philosophy, ethics and ethics definition, moral philosophy, nature of moral judgments and reaction. These are the contents we are going to discuss today. So before going to introduce the philosophy, first we have to know why should we study the philosophy. Without knowing the importance, if just we are telling we need philosophy or we need ethics, it can't give the value. That's the reason, as a researchers, you are all know that research is nothing but systematic investigation which is useful to gain a new knowledge that is from already existing knowledge. That's the way how we define the research. And as for the Von Braun, who is a German philosopher. He states that research is what I am doing when I don't know what I am doing. In the same way, there are many people, they have given their own definitions which are needed for us. I quoted four statements here, four ways of defining the research here I quoted. And one more person who is the Hungarian biochemist, who is the Saint Gary, he told that research is see what everybody else has seen and think what nobody has thought. But as per our research point aspect, from the American philosopher, research comprises of defining as well as redefining the problems, solutions, collecting and organizing, evaluating the data, making deductions and reaching conclusions, and further testing the conclusion whether they are fit into formulating our hypothesis or not. This is what is the important as a research scholar for us. So now we will see what is the philosophical objective while doing this task. As we know that we have to propose the hypothesis. So philosophical objective here is to propose and test certain hypotheses to provide causal relation between certain variables, which are the variables of our research. In the same way, it is useful to discover and establish the existence of relationship as well as the association or interdependence between two or more aspects of a particular situation or phenomena which is a part of our research. In the same way, to understand different phenomena and develop new perceptions about it, and to study and describe the accurately the characteristics of situations, problems, phenomena, or services of groups or individuals. It also explained unexplained origins of the knowledge. So to test and reported the findings, conclusions on new data, novel conclusions on previously reported data. To study the frequency mm, to study the frequency of the connected data with unspecified objectives. All these are the philosophical objectives of our research. So now coming to the prospectus, how what is the progress of the philosophy or how what is the prospectus of the philosophy? Why we have to study? So prospectus, if you see, it covers at least 10% of syllabus as you are most of us taking the net exam or UPSC exam or SLET. So in this 10% of the syllabus covers the philosophy. Philosophy teaches us art of questioning, and in that way it is helpful to content writing. We have to many occasions we have to develop the content. That content development we have to question ourselves. We must be argumentative. In such a cases, philosophy makes us learn to question ourselves. In that way we can develop the content writing also. Philosophical counseling, it is a new field in developing the philosophy which empowers each one of us to get the more job opportunities. Apart from all this, philosophy has a syllabus which contains the material for different competitive exams also. And it is not only the competitive exam syllabus it covers, it includes the mental ability and reasoning aptitude are the integral part of all the competitive exams, which are nothing but a part of the philosophy only. So your philosophy enriches you in studying the logic, reasoning, as well as the aptitude of every student. So these are the importance. Not only this, it includes the ethics, it includes logic or aesthetics, different branches, which are the core parts of the philosophy, which deals with the issues concerning human existing or inculcating the social, cultural, or religious and moral values of every individual. Career prospectus, as well as the it enhances the career prospectus as well as the job opportunities. So there are fair number of opportunities in philosophy in the field of academicians as well as the research. So philosophy has a good scope not only in our level, it is a part of all our reputed organizations like IITs and IIScs also. So that is the reason we have to go through in detail philosophy and philosophical definitions, basics, everything we have to learn as a researchers. As you know that philosophy consisting of two words. One is the phila and another one is the sophia. So philosophia, it is a origin from the Greece, and it is appeared first in the Greek language. So it is quietly known as philosophia. Philosophia consisting of two words, phila and sophia, which is nothing but love of wisdom. This this is etymologically means, from the origin of the words, if you find the meaning of philosophia, it is nothing but love of wisdom. But it is not exactly, sophia is not exactly equivalent to the wisdom. Sophia is having a bigger ambit compared to the wisdom. If you see the wisdom, wisdom is nothing but it is a intelligence which can be exercised in practical affairs like a mathematics, arts, or mechanical business. In mechanical or in physical world, whatever arts or business or cultural aspects we will develop, in that what kind of intelligence we are having, that will be indicated by the intelligence. Whereas sophia, which is a bigger ambit than the wisdom, it not only covers the physical, it is also the beyond that wisdom part also. Herodotus, who is the father of the introduction of the philosophy, he used the verb philosophian in a context that nothing more than the desire to find out. This is what he mentioned regarding the Sophia. Nothing more than the desire to find out. Beyond that, nothing is there. So this is the bigger picture. This is not a physical. It is more than physical. It is includes the metaphysical level also. It is the art of reasoning. Philosophy is nothing but art of reasoning. That reasoning we will carry it out legitimately, systematically, and reliably about everything. It is also art of reliably systematic as well as the systematic rational. It includes both the reliable way of getting the things in a rational as well as the systematic manner. So he is the scientist whom we call it as a father of history. He is the reason for that. Now see, already I mentioned Sophia, knowledge or wisdom. They incarnated in a second century. They incarnated as wisdom as a more than the just a physical. It is a metaphysical way. And coming to the definition, Pythagoras is the first person who himself described himself as a philosopher. When he described all the classes of the people, he classified the people into three classes. The people who can seek fame by taking part in them. This is regarding the games. When he is having, when during his time, there are the conduct the games in the society. The people who are attending to those games, those people he classified into three classes: those who seek fame by taking part in them, those who seek gain by playing their trade, those who are content to be spectators. So these are the three classes. He classified the people into three classes. Out of these three classes, some are the doers, some are the players, some are the spectators. Philosophers resembles the third class. Those are nothing but the spectators. Those are beyond the name and fame or profit. They seek to arrive the truth by contemplation. So they are interested only in the realizing the truth by simply keeping themselves as the spectators, beyond the playing or beyond the participating, beyond expecting the profit and all those things. Whereas coming to the Socrates, Socrates is a great philosopher. He himself never told as a philosopher, but his student Plato regarded him as a philosopher. Now coming to the our modern world, uh, how we are defining the philosophy based on various sources. Coming to our Oxford Dictionary defined the philosophy as knowledge which deals with the ultimate reality or with most general causes and principles of things. That is the way Oxford Dictionary uh, defined the philosophy. It is the ultimate reality but which consisting of causes as well as the principles of the things. Coming to the Aristotle, Aristotle considered the philosophy as first as well as the last science. Why he considered philosophy as the first and last science is he considered most of the things in a metaphysical way. There, the origin and destruction is the final stage. In both the places, includes the science. It is the conglomeration of the philosophy. That is the reason he considered philosophy as the first and last science. Now coming to the Descartes, Descartes he distinguished between mind and matter. So his way of describing the philosophy is how to distinguish mind and matter. That is physical versus metaphysical. So he made it appear there could be inquiry into the. So while defining this mind and matter, he divided the world into two things. One is the inner world, another one is the outer world. So now coming to the definition of the inner world and outer world, this is depending upon the time and the space. In which
Sorry to
way,
interrupt you, ma'am.
madam, please.
May I know if are you changing the slides because we can see only the first slide visible.
I am changing, madam.
Uh, I don't know. It's not visible to me, ma'am.
Okay.
Only the first slide.
Shall I check, madam, once
No,
again?
no, it is not visible for me as well.
No,
Yeah.
it's not in
Right
presentation mode.
theories is visible, ma'am.
No, slides are visible, but it's not in presentation mode. You are not in
Yes.
presentation
Yes.
mode.
For me, it is presentation mode only, sir. Shall I check one more time?
Okay, okay.
Is it okay now?
Not yet loaded.
1 minute. Oh, I will do one thing, sir. I will exit and I will get back again. That may solve the problem.
No, the reason is something different. Maybe you have to select all, I think.
I selected the entire presentation, sir.
Okay, okay.
All PPTs I selected.
No,
Tab selection only I did. Window
no,
selection.
not tab selection, man.
Shall I
Entire
go to the window selection? Otherwise,
Entire screen option, ma'am. Is
entire
entire
screen. You
screen
select
option
entire
visible?
screen.
full screen option.
Full screen. Yeah.
Pace is okay now, sir. Audio,
Yes,
everything is okay.
right, right. Everything is okay.
Entire screen only I selected. Share.
Then click on the screen. Yeah. Yes, madam. Now we can see your screen. Now you can go to your PPT. Yeah, go
Are you
to,
able to visible, sir, now?
no, but full presentation. Yeah, now we can see. Yeah, right.
Now it is changing?
Now it is changing. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, sir. Okay. It's good. Shall I continue or shall I start from the
No,
beginning,
we
sir?
can continue, madam. No problem.
Okay. So, as for the modern era, how we are defining uh, philosophy definition based on different sources as well as the different dictionaries, since we all will consider the Oxford dictionary as the basic for us. So as for the Oxford dictionary, philosophy is nothing but it's a department of knowledge which deals with the ultimate reality in the sense it's not only physical nature, it's also metaphysical, with the most general, which also deals with the causes as well as the principles of the things. Whereas we know that it evolved from the Greece. From the Greece, we are having three people, very important people: Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle. We know that they are all one is a guru and all others are the sishya to each other. As for the Aristotle, he considered the philosophy as the first and the last science, as well as coming to the next person, Descartes, he made a distinction between mind and matter. There are many ways of defining the philosophy. Here we consider the few ways of defining the philosophy which are related to the our content. So we have to discuss the various branches of the philosophy. There we should distinguish between the mind and matter. That is the reason which are more relevant to us. We consider those kinds of definitions only. So keeping that in view, we have considered three ways of defining the philosophy. So one is the distinction between mind and matter, that is given by the Descartes. Aristotle considered it as a first and last science, and Oxford Dictionary, it is telling us it is the ultimate reality which comprises of causes as well as the principles of the things. Now, as already I mentioned, distinction between the mind and matter, when we are seeing that they are having introducing the various levels. One is the inner world and another one is the outer world. So coming to inner and outer world, these definitions purely depends upon the space and time. That is the period where we are living, time when we are living. So they are depending upon the space and time. So if you see that aspect, in the medieval period, it was philosophy was considered as a theocentric. Theocentric in the sense God becomes the principle of the coordination. Whereas coming to the modern period, we are considering this as a anthropocentric. We know that anthrop means humans, that is human centric. So philosophy definition, as already I mentioned you, it is changing based on the time and the space. So now, as per the Descartes definition, it is nothing but a mind and matter, distinction between mind and matter. This difference changed between the period medieval and modern. In case of medieval period, it is considered as a theocentric, whereas the modern period it considered as a anthropocentric philosophy. That is the human activity or the human spirit or human awareness or human potential. These are the main centers of the philosophy. Philosophy is to coordinate most important general notions. It has to coordinate the principles of the various sciences. As already I mentioned, philosophy is the science. Finally, it is like our physics, chemistry, it is also a science, but it investigates the nature of being as it is in virtue of its own nature. So it's just not like our Newtonian physics, it is the nature of being as it is in virtue of its own nature. It connects all walks of our life as well as the thought. It is nothing but a general and fundamental problem, study of general and fundamental problems, those connected with the existence, knowledge, values, reason, mind, and language. So, if you see the ambit of philosophy, it is connected with existence, that is, it is related to the cosmic knowledge, as well as the values and ethics, that is the physical world, reason, mind, as well as the language. So it covers all aspects of a human being. It is distinguished from the other ways of addressing problems by its own critical and systematic approach. In solving some problems, you may not analyze first, you may directly go to the solution. But in case of our philosophical way of solving problem, first we have to analyze the problem critically, then we have to take up a systematic approach, then we have to, based on the reliability of our approach, then we will use the rational argument. By using the argument, we have to solve the problem. So these are the things, these are the components we have to see while solving any problem in a philosophical approach. Now coming to see the characteristic of philosophical wisdom, it is the ability to enter into a critical discussion. As already I told you, we have to critically analyze. So it has to interview into a critical discussion, and you have to direct access to the true reality. What is the true reality and knowledge? And not only this, it also includes what is the purpose of the life. So these are the key parameters when you follow the solve to problem in any research problem in a philosophical way, means you have to include these components while solving a problem in a philosophical approach. And coming to the philosophy, there are Indian approach is different as well as the world approach in certain aspects. Sometimes there is a convergence. So finally, there should be a logic and reasoning. Whenever you are solving a problem in a philosophical way, critical discussion should be there, and logic should be there, reasoning should be there. So include these things. In Indian context, our Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan has given a good way of representation. It is nothing but a philosophy is nothing but a logical inquiry into the nature of reality. So it is a logical inquiry into the nature of reality. That is how Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan has given his definition at the level of metaphysical level or spiritual or tattva level. Whereas coming to the Kant, Kant covers that it is a science and analysis of insight. Whereas Fichte has given that it is nothing but a study of information. Whereas coming to the Plato, he mentioned that philosophy is nothing but a reasoning, which focuses on the information, on the everlasting of the fundamental idea of things. That is the way how Plato has given the philosophy aspect. Now coming to the Aristotle, Aristotle mentioned that it is a reasoning, which is reasoning of the science, which explores the idea of being for what it is worth in uprightness of its own temperament. This is the way how Aristotle has mentioned regarding the philosophy. Now coming to the Comte, Comte mentioned that it is nothing but a study of sciences which has a clear reasoning. Whereas Paulson mentioned that it is just a logical information. If we observe different parts of the different ways of representing different people, some people from their experience, whatever the basic problem of theirs, whatever their experience, they thought of that in a different angles. But actually philosophy covers everything. It includes reasoning, it includes insight, it includes information, it includes the metaphysical things. So it is includes a logic, reasoning, everything. Now coming to the what is the difference between science and philosophy? So far we are the science student. We are studying science in a nice way. Is there any difference between the science and philosophy? Yes, definitely there is a difference between science and philosophy. If something happens means science tell us how that was happened, whereas philosophy tells us that why it has been happened. That means it is going beyond the science. While finding the reasons, science is going to certain level, whereas philosophy is going beyond that. It is telling us why that incident was happened, why that happened. That kind of information it is providing us. And also if you see the science, there are certain occasions our science also tell us the causes, but the way of giving the causes and reasons, they are different in case of philosophy compared to the science. Science level is a limited level, it will stop at certain level, whereas philosophy goes beyond that, it will go beyond the higher level in finding out the causes as well as the principles, which science is failed to reveal the same. So that is the difference. How science and philosophy, if you compare science and philosophy while transforming yourself, now you are doing research, that means you are the philosophy students, so you have to have the same characteristics, we have to have the more insights, we have to have the more forcing while finding out the causes which we are not thinking of earlier. Now, what is the difference between philosophy and philosophizing? Philosophy is nothing but a structure. When we are saying that a philosophy, just we are saying a philosophy means it is not much useful for us. As a noun, philosophy, it is not much useful. Instead of noun, if you go into the verb philosophizing, there things are going to be a dynamic. And if you stop at the philosophy means it's just a structure. You are talking about a structure, you are talking about a static or dead nature of any thought or any product which you are thinking of. That means when you are saying at the philosophy level means you are talking about a finished product of thought. It's not a dynamic in nature, it's not a still alive. But if you say it is a philosophizing means it's a verbal in structure, and which is a dynamic in nature, and which is alive in its existence, and it is nothing but a process of thinking. So just instead of saying philosophy, we are more comfortable in delivering the things at the philosophizing the things. In the same way, is there any difference between the philosophy and wisdom? Wisdom is nothing but a elusive and enigmatic notion. That means it implies or involves power of imagination as well as the creativity. This is the difference between actually knowledge and wisdom also. In case of your knowledge, creativity part and the imagination part is very, very less. Or if you go into the wisdom level, your philosophy includes the wisdom. As the definition we have seen at the beginning, it incorporates the wisdom. That means it covers the power of imagination as well as the creativity. Philosophy is lost among the most of the time. We are not bothered about the main gist or philosophy. Most of the time it was be lost while proposing many philosophies. Wisdom is lost in the knowledges. As already I mentioned you, upper level is the wisdom, lower level is the knowledge. If you are stopped at the knowledge, you are not moving to the wisdom level means you never become the good philosopher. That means we are proposing philosophies, we are not coming at the level of the top level where we have to go. Western philosophy, as already I told you, Indian philosophy and Western philosophy, there is a difference. Western philosophy, people stagnated at the epistemology level, that is at the knowledge level. But our Indian people are interested at the wisdom level. That is more beyond the knowledge part. This is the main difference between our Indian philosophy and the Western philosophy. The end of all knowledge is to reach the final objective of knowledge is it has to reach the wisdom only, but it has to consist of ability to go beyond the boundaries of the knowledge. You should not put the constraints. You have to go beyond the constraints of your constraints, then only you will reach the wisdom. Wise person will have the indefinite existence. And what is the advantage of possessing wisdom? What is the advantage of being a wise person? When any person is wise or he is full of wisdom, he is having lot of opportunities, lot of world possibilities. That is because he was tried to explore his knowledge beyond the knowledge level. So he got the intellectual honesty or intellectual thing. So your epistemology level crossed, knowledge level crossed. That is the reason he had the good opportunities. Now coming to the scope of the philosophy, what it covers, what actually philosophy covers. Philosophy addresses basically four things. One is our way of thinking process. It addresses our way of thinking process, and it covers logic. Logic is nothing but valid reasoning or argument in solving any problem. That is what is a logic. It addresses the logic, it addresses the thinking process. Not only these two, it also addresses the latent structure of our actual thinking. This is the hidden structure of our actual thinking, or it is also known as epistemology or theory of knowing. Finally, not only these three, finally it is the study of what it means to know. Normally we are all trying to what we don't know or we want to know, or we are also in the process of how to know also. But philosophy is what it means to know rather than the we know or how we know. That is, it is putting us the target, it is giving us the target what actually we have to know. That kind of target or destination it is suggesting us. So this is what is the scope of the philosophy. So when it is having this scope, it is also having certain characteristics. It is nothing but it is connected with the, it is characteristic is, philosophy characteristic is, it is connecting with the information on the real world. Not only that, it always tracks down the reality. It serves for and tracks down the reality, and it also moderate, customary as well as the adaptable in nature. It is nothing but the thoughts of reasoning which are important as well as the significant in finding any solutions. It also gives us the arrangement with the idea of real world. Not only this thing, it also figure out the various sense of fail to remember the method of information. Most of the time, there is a process of remembrance with our normal physical organs, but it is not at that level. It is the reasoning level. It is the logic level. So your physical organs, with your physical organs, you cannot do this process. It is beyond that. With your mind, you have to do this. This is the one more organ, sense organ, but it is not the five physical organs. It is beyond that. Sixth one is the inner organ, which is a mind. With that, you have to do. Reasoning is dependably powerful. Not only this, it is the alternating of changing of our conduct. Since we are now more wisdom, we are more able to perceive the things, more able to analyze the things. So automatically, because of ignorance, we will depend on many things. Now that dependability will be removed, and it not only improves our physical world things, it also improves our conduct. If we see the Indian scenario, it is also people used to say that it is the conceivable interaction between Atma and Paramatma. This is the these are the some of the characteristics what we will see with respect to the philosophy. Now, coming to the branches of philosophy, we are having seven branches of philosophy: axiology, metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, aesthetics, logic, and political philosophy. These are the various branches based on where they are discussing, how they are discussing, what is their concentration. Based on that, we are having seven branches of philosophy. Now, coming to the axiology, what is axiology? It is also nothing but a science, but it deals with the values. They have a philosophical connotation. So, it mainly depending upon the values which are related to the philosophical connotation. That is what is termed as a axiology. What it will do, it will investigate the idea of significant worth yet various powerful viewpoints. And not only this, it also gives the idea of philosophical terms and fights questions about the nature what truly regarded. So, up to so far, we are concerned with only ourselves as humans, but axiology deals with beyond the human, it connects with the cosmic world. So, it tells us the existence of the things, it tells us the how that existence truly regarded. Those kinds of things are given by axiology. Now, coming to the metaphysics, this metaphysics, physics we know, metaphysics, meta whatever is there means beyond, meta meaning is beyond, that is beyond the physics. So it is concerned with the primarily it is concerned with the explaining of the fundamental nature of being and the world. So it deals with two things, it deals with the cosmology as well as the ontology. That means it deals with the living organ on the earth as well as it is also deals with the god's creature, all god's creature. So these are the two things our metaphysics deals. That is the reason it includes cosmology as well as ontology. Now coming to the cosmology, what it covers is it tries to give us understanding the origin, structure, as well as the ultimate fate of the universe at large. So, cosmology is a big picture which gives us the idea of our cosmic world. In that case, what are the things we came to know is how this was the origin and what is its structure, and finally how it will go, and what are the laws keeping it in order. Those kinds of things is dealt by our cosmology. Now, coming to the ontology, ontology deals with the who are finding on the earth, and what is the relation between these two aspects, that is dealt by, that is which are living on the earth and which is the cosmic world, and what are the relation between these two, those things are dealt by the ontology. So if finally if you summarize, your metaphysics is nothing but it is concerned with making the sense of idea of existence as well as all God's creatures. So these are the two things covered by the metaphysics. So it is nothing but a comprehensive thinking of the nature and a human. So, as already I told you, how you can understand the metaphysics is metaphysics attempts to offer comprehensive view of all existing. That means what is a thing? What is a thing in the sense any living being we will consider as a thing. How are existence related, and yeah, earlier it was not existed. If it is existed, how it is, and how the world is changing. Are there any substances, past actual articles? Beyond now we are living beyond us, is there any fast things are alive in this? If they are there, how they are connected with the actual items, how cosmic worlds are connected with the actual items. These kinds of things can be answered by using metaphysics. Second branch of philosophy is epistemology. Epistemology, in the sense, it is concerned with the knowledge that we introduced at the beginning. So, it is nothing but beliefs as well as the existing knowledge, both we will consider as a epistemology. Actions, beliefs, and knowledge. These two we will consider as a epistemology. It is nothing but a branch of philosophy which is concerned with the nature and the scope. So here, how the information existing or how it is convicted in between the things. So here, what is the information? Earlier is the existence of the human and existence of the cosmic world. Now we are thinking of the next level. That is nothing but the knowledge part we are thinking of. Here, what is the knowledge? How this knowledge is acquired, or what is the information, or this is earlier, this information is existed earlier. If the laws and regulations are earlier existing, what is the quality of ethical quality of these laws, or how they are existing, how do we know that? These kinds of things can be answered by epistemology. Now, the important aspect is the logic. As already I mentioned, we have seen also many definitions based on the reasoning. So logic is nothing but study of reasoning. This is the another branch of philosophy. It is nothing but a study of reasoning. Logic is the attempt to codify the rules and the rational thought for solving a certain example. What are the rules are required, what are the thought process, rational thought process is needed for that. Those kinds of things uh, we will see in this particular branch. Here, coming to the logic, most of our logicians explore the structure of the arguments. That means when you are formulating a problem, your problem will be put in a argumentative form or in based on the based on the nature, based on the problem where in which domain you are considering. That may be a structure, maybe in an argumentative form, or it related to a truth. Truth in the sense, here there are two approaches. As already I told you at the beginning, we introduced two ways. One is the medieval level, and another one is the modern way of defining. If you are concerning with the medieval level, there more are related to the gods and God's truth, everything. Now coming to our level, modern approach, this is related to the human approaches and truth related to the human approaches. That is the reason I mentioned at the beginning itself, philosophy, it is a tool which depending upon the time as well as the space. Why I am reiterating the same is when you are coming to the truth, we generally say that truth is one. That is true at the meta level. But when we are applying the same at our physical level, we cannot say the same. Since here logic is there, reasoning is there, again that depends upon the time and space. When you are telling the space, different societies having their own set of morals, their own set of ethics. Based on their own set of morals and ethics, they try to have their problem solving techniques or their methods. So we cannot have the same set of rules or same set of things to entire world as a unique. That is the reason when we are dealing with the definition also, we have seen the Western approach as well as the Indian approach differently. So here also same thing we have to remember through the entire presentation. These things are very, very important while perceiving the things. So most of the philosophers like Aristotle, they convinced that logic permeates spread all other branches of the philosophy. That means logic is not related to only one part, it is there everywhere. If you see, go every branch of the philosophy, you are able to, though we are treating logic as a separate branch, but logic is implicit in all other branches also. That point what we have to understood at this junction. Logic not only part of every branch, it gives us the ability to test the arguments, whichever argument you proposed. It is the logic is the ability to test those arguments for logical consistency and understand the logical consequences of certain assumptions. It also distinguishes the kind of evidence a philosopher is using in doing any of his problem. Logic is divided into two things. We know when we are solving the problem, we use it to even it is our own experience. When we are solving our mathematical problems or axioms, we use it to have two approaches: inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. So same thing applies here also, since it also includes the logic, it also includes the reasoning, whatever the components we are having there, same axioms are there, hypothesis it consisting of. So here also we are having the inductive approach as well as the deductive approach. How we are solving in calculus, inductive and deductive approaches, it also supports, your logic also supports inductive as well as the deductive reasoning. Now coming to the aesthetics. Aesthetics plays a very, very important role. We are all familiar with different cell phone companies, but most of the people like uh, uh, like this iPhone. iPhone people are very much interested in maintaining the aesthetic. Aesthetic is nothing but it is the beauty. When your product was prepared, final thing you are concentrating is the aesthetic. Aesthetic is it mainly related to the appearance part. It is nothing but a beauty, or it is nothing but if it is a food item, it is a taste. If it is a art kind of item, finally how your presentation will be. It's the final point is decided by the aesthetic. So though it seems to be less important, but when you are coming to the aspects of the business or coming to the theory, though you did the research, while presenting the things, last part is the aesthetic. So it's nothing but a branch of philosophy dealing with the nature of beauty, art, or taste. So it is also creation or appreciation of the beauty. Most of the times it is nothing but a final product, final appearance, creation and appreciation of the beauty. This philosophical subject is entirely committed to the characterizing the various part of excellence, even including its shape. It is morely depending upon the sensory or sensory emotional values also. In the same way, it includes the judgment of the sentiment and taste. Normally, certain questions which related to the aesthetics is how would we find something lovely? Or is excellence generally abstract, or could it at any point be unbiased as well? So, final touch up, whatever is there, that is mentioned with the help of the aesthetics. Ethics. Ethics, we are all people know that we are all having ethics morals. This is a common misnomer and common word we are all using repeatedly, ethics and morals. Well, coming to the ethics, it is also known as the moral philosophy. It is nothing but a branch of philosophy which deals with the addressing the questions of the morality. The questions which are related to the moral, which are related to the moral values, those questions will be answered through the ethics. So this is a that kind of branch. It always includes the once it is including the moral means certain times it may be a good or it may be a bad. It includes the right or wrong, or it may include the justice, virtue. All these are the keywords which we come across this branch of ethics. It includes all these things. It not only includes good, bad, it also part of the code of conduct. So for every body, a code of conduct means it tells us what are the do's and what are the don'ts for any body or anything whichever you are applying this ethics. It gives us a strength for our social life. It may be related to a personal life or public life. So finally, if you want to say in one word, ethics is nothing but a philosophical study of morality. So, though we are talking at the ethics level, underlined basic element is the moral. So, it is nothing but a study of the morality. So, morality, once you are talking, means it includes beliefs, it includes right, wrong, good, bad. So, it includes everything. There, your judgment will be plays a role, your principles come into the picture, your theories, whatever you are having at the personal level, what you are having at the public level, that means the societal level, everything plays into a role. Ethics concentrated, so once it is related to a individual as well as a society means automatically it includes a set of rules and regulations. uh, in which society people should live in, they have to follow certain set of rules and the regulations. So it concentrates on the set of rules and regulations. It governs not only behavior, it governs the people's lives based on that set of rules and principles, what they are thinking of good and bad. So that society or that person is governed by the set of rules they are having. Based on that, they will be judged as either good or bad. So it is our responsibility to formulate a good set of code of conduct for having a good behavioral pattern in our society. It is not only, it's also tells about the psychological characters like sympathy, generosity, kindness. All those parameters also include in the ambit of ethics. Now coming to the seventh, we are mentioning at the beginning, we are having seven branches of philosophy. Last branch is the political philosophy. Coming to the political philosophy, it includes the whatever so far we are not covered. Those all included by this political philosophy like liberty, justice, properties, rights, law, and legal code. All these things are covered by the philosophy, political philosophy. This political philosophy covers two things. One is the politics. It is the inclusion of two fields. One is the politics, another one is the philosophy. It concentrates, political philosophy concentrates on the political government, guidelines, opportunity values, and honors, authority, all political states, frameworks, morals, and the so everything, it covers everything. Now coming to the again political philosophy, when we are talking about the opportunities, values, and justice, property, light, law, everything you are talking about means again it depends upon the societal aspects. If you see our Indian society, for everything, whatever your financial matters, you are quoting, for that our nominal habit is we used to say about Chanakya. We refer with reference to Chanakyas, this is the thing. With reference to Chanakya, this is the how the villages to be organized. In the so Chanakya, in his book Arthashastra, he has given the formulation for every aspect. That is the reason we are considering that Chanakya's Arthashastra as a framework for us. In the same way, if you see the morals, women morals, we use it to quote all the time Manusmriti. So that is the book which are dictating our societies, how we can manage the societies in a right order. So that's the way how people will make the references to create their political aspects as well as the all kinds of personal life in a better way. They used to have some references framed by. In the same way, if you see the Chinese society, they used to say Confucius. In the same way, you consider the Russian, they used to consider their own way of setups. So this is the where how people we use it to have the political philosophy which covers the every aspects. So this is all regarding the philosophy. Now we could able to know what is a philosophy, what is the importance of the philosophy, and what is its scope, and what are the different branches. Now we will see what is ethics. So second part of our lecture is ethics. Now coming to the ethics, yeah, the ethics is also one branch of the philosophy, but it purely depends upon the morals. So it is nothing but ethics is nothing but a system of moral principles. They affect how people make decisions as well as lead their lives. Since we already seen how this is going to impact every sphere of our life, so ethics, it leads with the system of moral principles. It makes us people how we are able to make the decisions as well as how we are leading our lives. It is concerned with what is good for individuals and good for the society. It is described as a moral philosophy. The term moral is moral and ethics. They both come from again Greek. Greek ethos means custom or habit or character or disposition. Concepts of ethics have been derived from the religions, philosophies, as well as the cultures. So, as already I mentioned you, ethics is independent, not independent of the cultures, not independent of the religions. So, it depends upon the philosophies, religions, as well as the cultures. So, you have to suppose you see why I am telling this is if you see the cultures, if you see the culture of the Hindu society, there as of right now, abortion is not a crime. If you see the same with regard to the Muslim society, it's a crime. So thing is same, abortion. the same action is same, but based on our code of conduct, our religious code of conduct, our societal code of conduct, that will be considered as moral or immoral. So it's a relative plane, uh, in which time we are living, in which society we are living, space and time, those are deciding the things. So now coming to the ethics, ethics and morality, if you see how they are interdependent and how they are going together, ethics, morals, both came from the one is came from the Greek, morals came from the Latin. Morals is nothing but having to do with customs, habits, and behavior. If you combine having to do with, as you know that ethos means customs, habits, and behavior. Mores means it is nothing but having to do with. So having to do with customs, habits, and behavior. Ethics is a rational reflection on morality. It's a how rational it directly reflects, rationally reflects the morality of our society, morality of our individuals. It also covers the our rights, our way of life, our language. As already I mentioned earlier, it covers everything. So morality is nothing but, so outer plane we will say it as ethics, underlying plane is nothing but a morality. So morality decides the ethics. If you are morally strong means your society is ethically good, or ethics of your society is good. That is the reason your moral system should be good. Your moral system should be strong. So when you are coming to the morality, morality is nothing but a system. It comprises of moral rules as well as the principles. They will rule us or they will guide us, our code of conduct, our human conduct. They are the principles, they assess us or they evaluate us, our behavioral pattern or our own individuality. So coming to the ethics, ethics, how we are defining different approaches to philosophy. Here also there are many theories, ethical theories, they are existing in practice. They need to affect the way how human beings behave. Some philosophers think ethics does do this. They argue that person realize that if morally good to do something, then it automatically he is a rational, or he sometimes he may be irrational also. So that is the way morality related to the rationalism also. So human beings, they may be rational or they may be irrational based on the way of morals they are put in, they are following. Though there is a set of morals, how they are imbibed, how they are put into practice, based on that they may be good thinkers or they may be good in solving the moral issues. How we are defined the philosophy, here also different people define the ethics in a different way. Paulson defined the ethics as a study of customs or ethics. In the same way, Mackenzie, he did a lot of work. Mackenzie did a lot of work towards ethics. He mentioned that ethics is the investigation of what is great or right in lead. In the same way, Seth, he mentioned that in his approach, he mentioned that it is nothing but the study of good. Ethics is the science, second to none of the ideal and the should. So he mentioned that ethics is the ultimate. That is the way how he defined. In the same way, Sinha mentioned that morals is the study of the highest good. William Lilly, he mentioned that morals is a standardizing study of the lead of people living in a social orders, science which judges this direct to be correct or off base or great and terrible. That means when we are seeing, as for the William Lilly, he mentioned, he correlates morals with the science also. He tries to standardizing the morals with the help of or by contemplating science over that. So by correlating these two, he tries to mention that how morals is affecting ethics or how science is standardizing the morals. how we are having the branches in philosophy. Here also you are having meta ethics, normative ethics, or applied ethics, or we will say in the other way with our statistical way, it can be descriptive ethics, normative ethics, or prescriptive ethics. So whether it is a descriptive nature or normative, that means we are standardizing against anything, or prescriptive. So it is same like our statistical approach. Now see, what are the approaches we are having in the study of ethics or ethical theories? There are many people proposed many ways, but here we are able to find four or five approaches which are very much needed for us in studying the ethical theories. First one proposed by Kant, he mentioned about deontological ethics. Deontological ethics means it talks about the individual level, that is, do unto others. That means never treat others as means to an end. So, deontical ethics, which is proposed by Kant, tells about the individuals. It is mentioning us, you should not treat the others as the means. That is, they are not the end. You don't treat them as just as the means. So what is the ethical ground, what is the more than rules and regulation, what kind of other approaches that philosophy, or what kind of other approaches like love, kindness, what other approaches also to be there, that should be dealt here. Second is the utilitarian approach, or we will call it as a teleological approach. This was proposed by Mill. As for Mill, in this, the greatest good for the greatest number. That means if your morals are good, if you are following a good number of morals, great number of morals, you are good always. Now coming to the third, virtue ethics, it is proposed by Aristotle. Most of the Aristotle approach, we will see that he follows the Socrates only. So, as for virtue ethics, it emphasizes the moral character. It is a pure physical morals, physical societal morals he talks about. What are the virtues? Normally, what are the virtues we are having? As a living being on this earth, we are having many virtues, good virtues with us. So when you want to be moral means you should possess a good number of virtues, being a complete person, and you have to follow the same. Last one is the right approach or the fairness approach. So here four or five approaches, as already I mentioned, these are the far part of normative ethics proposed by various people like Kant, Mill, and Aristotle. This we are going to study. Meta, as already I mentioned, meta means beyond. So coming to the meta, it attempting the answering the fundamental philosophical questions rather than the physical questions. So it is beyond the physics. The questions which it is going to answer in the ground of moral is beyond the normal physics. There, like there may be questions like friendship is good or lying is wrong. When you are having these kinds of statement, if you want to judge it true or false, so lying is wrong or friendship is good, these two statements will not hold good in all the circumstances, all the scenarios, and all the times. Suppose lying is wrong, let us say. Again, our Vedas tells that in case of women, people can lie. So again, it depends upon the religion, it depends upon the context, it depends upon the time. So that is the reason, just like a statement, we cannot say whether it is true or false. It includes many parameters like subjectivism or objectivism or cognitism. Cognitism means while while judging the statements or while judging the things, the person who is doing that, does he capable? Does he able to distinguish what is true and what is false? In the same way, non-cognitivism. Moral judgments are not capable of being true or false. They are like commands or interjunctions. This we have to remember. In the same way, there are truths, morality, what sort of facts makes them true. Assuming there are truths of morality, what sort of facts make them true? So, if you come to the other parameters which influence your morality or ethics, is one is the subjectivism. Moral truths are subjective, as already we have seen at the top. Different values and different cultures. Objectivism, moral truths are certain times they are objectivism. So certain times they are the beyond the cultures, beyond the, they will be definitely spoke at the level of humanitism. Their objectivism comes into the picture. So normative ethics. So out of three kinds of ethics, coming to the normative ethics, this normative ethics, it deals with the study one ought to do, what one ought to do, what thing make us moral or what is right and wrong. So it gives the answers to these questions. One ought to do, what thing make us moral, what is right or wrong. It includes the axiology, as already you have seen axiology at the axiology in the philosophy level. It is a goodness, badness, or knowledge part. Hedonism. Hedonism is nothing but the increase of pleasure and the decrease of pain. Any society's final aspect is hedonism only. It has to increase the pleasure in the society, pleasure with the people, and at the same time, it tries to work for the decreasing of the pain, not only at the individual level, it works at large at the level of the society. In the same way, desire satisfaction, so how much is satisfaction you are getting being a good or being itself. Non-naturalism. Non-naturalism deals with the good in a simple property that is irreducible or indefinable in terms of anything else. Egoism. This everybody from the right from our birth we are having egoism. Egoism is nothing but we assume that we is the best consequences. We have to be do best at our level. Utilitarianism, this is nothing but right if and only if it produces the best balance between good and bad. Now coming to the applied ethics, this applied ethics all the time it deals with the different questions actual people face in the real world, but the answers are not same. Questions is same. This is applied based on the societal conditions, based on everything. So these are the certain questions like abortion always wrong. That may be true. Abortion nowadays we cannot say that. Based on the time it has to change. Good olden days that may be true when the population is very less. In the same way, nowadays certain person is taking very painful. There is a, we are going for even death penalty also. In the same way, there are many parameters. They are changing their shape, definitions based on the societies and everything. So this is what I told you right now, deontological theories. Now coming to the virtue theory or related theory or virtue theory. Virtue theory is the excellence or desirable moral quality. It is the highest order of the excellence or it is the highest level of moral qualities. Virtues are often defined by social role like parent, child, spouse, teacher, etc. What are the qualities which make for a good or what are the qualities of good physician for every profession, every person, or everything, what are the good virtues we should possess so that we will be very ethical or moral. There are certain natural law theories in addition to the whatever normative theories. There are certain natural tendencies also in this. What is natural to be followed? There are abortion is not allowed, but embryonic or fetal research is not allowed of it. So In the same way, coming to the land suicide. So some natural laws also there. So we have to make a balance, or we have to make a trade-off between natural versus artificial treatment, or principle versus doubt effect. Finally, we are coming to the right theories. What is the right to do we have, or what basic rights do we have? So, if you it directly reflects the political philosophy. There we are discussing all our rights, liberty, life, every aspect we are dealing with. So, this is uh, this kind of right theories which related to the ethics is directly applicable to the political philosophy. Here, what are the rights we have? Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and whether following our rights, whether it is harming to others, or where do rights come? Is it a natural rights or our framed rights? Who are the creator of the rights? Actually, is it the natural right, or is it a framed right? What do rights entail? What kind of things they are going to entail us? Is it a fundamental right or positive negative rights? All these things we can discuss in the rights theory. So far, we talk about philosophy, we talk about ethics, and we understood that morality is the basic for ethics. So, how morality comes? Who are the responsible for that? How we can imbibe them? Without morality, our society cannot be ethical. Ethical standards of the society are not good. Same thing with the research also. Only thing is, in terms of the society, it may be a different angle. In the same way, if we come to the research aspect, their ethics may be related to your publications, related to the conducting research, related to the how behavioral pattern of yours with your peers, with your guide. Those will decide the code of conduct. Those comes under your morals and ethics. How we have to imbibe those things into the people or into the societies. There are four categories who are responsible to develop the morality in the society. One is the parent, second one is the religion, third is the peers, and fourth one is the technology. If you see the parents, parents' tendencies, parents' nature at the tender age of the child, basically, these are the people who instill ethics and morals into the children. Suppose a child, we are making them to learn when he is a child, instead of telling them proper habits, we are not able to tell them proper habits, means same kind of things they will exhibit in the society. Now, coming to the religion, religion is also right place, especially in our Indian society. Our religion is incorporating many things into our moral life or our ethical life. Not only one religion, all the religions, but the things are different. They are imbibing many things into the religion, into the people's moral life, like a religion of commandments. 10 commandments are there. In the same way, if you come to the Hindu society, there is Ashtanga Yoga, which gives us learning morals and ethics. In the same way, if you go to the Buddhism or Jainism, they are having their own doctrines, which are so their religion plays a role how to make the people moral and ethical. Fears. It's a normal tendency. You please tell the nature of your friend. I will tell your nature. That's the saying is there. Friends effect is there most of us. So we should have um, when we are having the peers, they should have a good moral judgment. Then we are also be happy. In the same way, peer pressure can sometimes cause the people, when it is a normal tendency we use it to find, and the people are in group, students are in group, they use it to comment much more frequently. That means they're enjoying peer pressure at the cost of ethical decisions or moral decisions. In the same way, technology nowadays plays a key role, which is a two-ended sword, which is having both the ends. So sometimes technology is able to Suppose there is an exam, with the help of technology, you can prevent the copying. With the help of the technology, you can be the solve many of your cyber physical problems also. So technology is also providing some certain guidelines, controlling the things also in the society. So as already I told you, there is this is right, this is wrong, or certain times gray areas. Certain situations when we are coming to the part of the ethics, we are not in a state to decide which is right or which is wrong, or which is personally good or which is in the society part which is not good. So there are certain gray areas where we have to approach the natural law theories to judge the things also. Coming to our Indian context, what are the ethical issues we are going to face most of the times? As we know that Indian society's most extreme significance here we are having social varieties and legalism of the country. And here, if you see our traditions, customs, dialectics, stations, our beliefs, classes, there are many. If you see the many disintegrations are there in many aspects, still we have to follow the ethics and morals. Not only this, we have to work for the advancements of the multitude of the societies, religions, and so on, not the alternate way around. So, though there are these many differences, we have to work. Our ethical aspect should work, our moral aspect should go in a much better way. During the exploration, the specialist should remember the wide conservative information and innovative whole between the individuals of India. So, on the whole, we need a typical strategy or a typical system, both at a domestic as well as the public level, helping our Indian societies. We must be a moral at the same time. We all should live in a cardinal way. Now, coming to the moral philosophy, today many courses are directed with the character advancements. Our AICT is imposing creditless courses. Most of the people are concentrating on the characters. Most of the people are fearing about the future societies. Why means our value systems as well as the ethics both are degrading. So we must, that is the reason people are concentrating again because of the technological advancements, because of the many reasons in the society. There are the degradation we are able to see. That is the reason to imbibe the same at the government level, at the institution level, as well as at various level. We are talking about the values as well as the how to restore the values and how to restore the ethics, since both are interlinked. The learning of what is worthy or right in human behavior is known as the simple definition. Coming to the simple definition, irrespective of anything, it is nothing but the learning of what is worthy or right in human behavior is known as the ethics. In India, moral philosophy is actually the art of living a decent and the disciplined life. So most of our people are depending on the uh, to be in a good moral life. We are depending on even the spiritual philosophies also. In the history of civilization, Indian ethics is the earliest moral theory. So if you go back and see, ours is a best and earliest one is in proposing the moral theory. There are many people, you could find many people in our history who worked for good morals and good ethics of the society. Indian morals is a spiritualistic and absolutistic, as already I mentioned. Indian way of thinking holds love thy neighbor as thyself, and each living being is the thy neighbor. So this is Vasudhaika Kutumba is our philosophy, moral philosophy, which is helpful or which is showing the path to the entire world right now. Now, coming to the moral philosophy, in Western way of thinking, moral is the scholarly inquiry through in Indian view. It is the lifestyle to understand a definite reality. So, in coming to the Western way, their thinking of morals is they are at the physical level. They pertain their morals and ethics to the pattern of the lifestyle. Whereas coming to Indian style, it includes the dharma as a special idea of Indian way of thinking. Moral philosophy is the study of what is right and wrong in human conservation and society. So if you see as already I mentioned, it is depending on the places and different. If you see the Confucianism, it related to the Chinese, they praise worthy government in light of compassion, faithfulness, and relational connection. So again, it depends upon the time and place. Now coming to the moral judgment, how people can do the moral judgment. As already we know, our feelings, our moral feelings are influenced by our emotions. So automatically moral judgments are influenced by the moral sentiments. Since moral feelings affected by emotional circumstances, in the same way, moral judgments, whatever moral judgments are there, they are influenced by our sentiments. But otherwise is not the truth. So we have to accept ethical commitment to ethical commitment. They will make the best decisions and they will abstain from doing wrong, or they will abstain us from doing something which is not acceptable. So we have to stick to the ethical commitment. Then only we are able to build a good society and we could able to decide the best decisions. And when we are doing the moral judgment, there are four components. In any moral judgments, if you examine any moral judgment, you should able to find that there are four components. One should be a person or a subject. We will call it as a subject who will be the judge. That means the person who is going to judge the situation, judge the morals, judge the context. So he is the judge. And one should be the object. That means whose actions we are judging. So he becomes the object. And third is the standard. We are judging the context against which standard, which based on which standard we are judging. Finally, the person whom we are considered as a judge, does he have the ability to judge that context, or does he have the knowledge of the context so that he can make the judgment properly? That's the way how we have to consider. So these are the, if you consider any moral judgment, these four components will become the part. So we, out of that, we have to select a proper standard and we have to go with a person who is having the domain knowledge related to that particular aspect. So, moral nature of the voluntary. So, coming to the moral judgment, in general, moral judgment is made based on the rational beings' voluntary and habitual actions. So, if you take any moral judgment, it is based on the any person's rational aspects as well as the habitual actions. Now coming to the other voluntary actions which are to be part of this is deliberation, choice and resolution. These are also voluntary actions we have to take care while seeing the reasonable person to judge the context. So, moral judgments are based on people's intentional as well as the habitual actions rather than their passive experience. So, while doing the judgment, the thing should be depending upon its intentional as well as his habitual actions rather than his passive experiences. Moral judgment can be stated to be a character requirement and derived from his social relationship. So finally, your moral judgment can be stated to be a character requirement. So finally, why we are doing this? Final aspect is we have to build the character. We have to improve the ethics. We have to build the morals of individuals, morals of the societies. So that should be the ultimate aim of any moral judgment. So, moral judgment, finally, in a one sentence, moral judgment alludes to the assurance an individual makes about an activity or action thought process, circumstance, or individual comparable to guidelines of goodness or rightness. So, this could be the final objective of your moral judgment. What is the nature of moral judgment? So this is what is the moral judgment, how to choose the judges, how to choose the context oriented knowledge, all these things are over. Now what is the nature, what kind of characteristic it is having? Moral judgment is a value judgment. That means, suppose when some context is happened, you can describe the context. Just there are different levels. Suppose some context is happened, some incident is happened. That incident can be interpreted in two ways. Just you can document it. That is that is nothing but a descriptive judgment. Just simply you can write some description. That may be the uh, one way of representing the judgment. Or second is you can you can interrogate, or you can judge, or you can give some critical assessment, some punishment. So it can be two ways. Moral judgment is a value judgment. It's not just like a factual judgment, it's not a descriptive judgment. It includes critical assessment also, it includes the assessment part also as a part of it. Mental, it decides, it not only it act of deciding specific behavior and which is right or wrong. Since you are doing assessment, what is the outcome of assessment? Finally you are concluding that after your assessment, you are concluding that it is right or wrong. That means it is a value judgment, it is not just a descriptive judgment. And second is it is a normative. This feature is introduced by again a McKenzie. Normative in the sense you are comparing it against a standard. Based on that, you are declaring it is good or bad. Suppose something is happened, that context you are comparing with, let us say, with Rama or Krishna or with some doctrine. Based on that, you are telling that it is good or wrong, right or wrong. That is, it is a normative. You are making a normalization against some set standard. And according to Meyerhead, it is considered with the assessment of conduct or the determination of whether or not a certain behaviors are right or wrong. Another person, Meyerhead, he mentioned that according to him, it is nothing but a assessment of conduct. So assessment of conduct in the sense, finally it is telling us whether the thing is right or wrong, good or that behavioral pattern is good or bad, or it is right or wrong. So it is a assessment of conduct. Moral judgment is clearly inferential. That means it is the application of a standard to a specific behavior. Broadly words, moral judgment is usually intuitive and quick. So it's not only, it won't take much time. It is many cases it is intuitive, and at the same time it is faster. Moral judgments requires a subject who judges an object to be judged, as well as a standard by which action is judged. So, as already I told you, the four components to perform the moral judgment, you need a judge, you need an object, and you need a set standard against which you have to judge the action. This is the nature of the moral judgment. Finally, coming to the reactions, distinction between moral. So, finally, we know the judgment, we know the nature of the judgment. While doing the judgments, there are many things involved. Their moral component is involved, logical component is involved, aesthetic components are involved. So, your judgments can be, your moral judgments can be moral, or it can be a logical, or it can be a aesthetic. If you see ethics, logic, aesthetic are all the part of the normative ethics. So they are the supreme in everybody's life, or everybody should have to do certain work means he should apply the logic, he should have the ethics. At the same time, everybody sees that that thing should completed in a fine, logical, appreciable way only. So for any work, Ethics, logic, and aesthetic. Those three are the undividable component. They are the implicit parts of in anything. So ethics concerned with ideals of the greatest good. So if you come ethics, what it includes? Ethics concerned with the ideals of the good. Logic, truth. Logic all the time related to the truth. Aesthetics deals with the beauty. So all the three components are needed only. And moral judgments, on the other hand, are always accompanied by moral obligation and moral sentiments, whereas logic and aesthetic judgments are not. So, out of these three components, ethics related to the moral judgment that may be influenced by moral obligation and the sentiments, whereas logic and aesthetic judgment they are not influenced by the moral and moral sentiments. Moral sentiments include feelings of the acceptance, disapproval, rightness, wrongness, and so on. So, coming to the moral sentiments, they are the feelings. What they include, it may be agree sometimes, approval sometimes, not approval, disapproval, acceptance, sometimes you may not accept, rightness, wrongness. Every subjective parameters are the part of the sentiments. So, moral judgments are therefore required and accompanied with the moral attitudes. So here I want to show you few things. If you see, when I'm asking which is longer, suppose here you are having two tables. When I'm asking a question which is longer, automatically we will say that without these two pictures, we will say that well, this picture is seems to be longer. But coming to the ground truth or reality, if you take a scale or if you take a roller and place two rollers on each, now compare both. You are assuming you clearly know that it is same. So in many cases, in societal moral aspects also like this only. Actual truth is one. Sometimes they appear different way. Same thing we can find in many ways also. If you see here, so this is a cube. Here this cube is covered with checks of many colors. If you see these two arrows, the color appearing here and here, it is different. If you see, if you cover this with a white screen, move on a white screen, now see the both the colors both are same. Why this again existing is, if you see illuminating light is not same. So, based on the convictions where we are living, things are matter. In the same way, if you see the picture here, if you take the world statistics, if you observe, there are certain countries from Austria, Belgium. If you see the donating organs, this is a graph which tells us the how people are donating organs. If you see people right of the Austria, there are more people are donating their organs per year. If you see left side, Denmark, Netherlands, there if you see there are the less number of people they are donating the organs. Suppose if you want to make a survey, if you provide a checkbox, you who want to provide or participate in this survey, donating the organs, though you give the checkbox, left side people donating the organs, they never click also. In the same way, right side, they not want, they won't click. If you see, thing is same, concept is same, organ donation, but why that is different? Again, the moral level of the society or the aspiration level of the society, the education which it exists in the society, that also makes the things much better and much way. In the same way, how knowledge part existing here, as you know that light is the indication of the knowledge, though both are color is same, illuminating light is different. That is the reason it seems to be different. In the same way, knowledge, how the society runs, at what knowledge base, that is going to create a much impact in the society. So, final objective of ours is we have to develop the morality. For that, we have to follow different people proposed different ways how to develop the morality in the society. They proposed how to pre-conventional concern for self, concern for self and others, concern for others. So in three ways. At the beginning, first of all, you should be conscious in implementing the morals. Second, in addition to yourself, you have to take care of your neighbors, how they are in following the morals and the ethical values. Once you are succeeded at these two levels, you can go with the majority of the society level. So this is the way how you can develop the different morality. You can improve the stage by stage, you can improve the morality and the morals in the society. So as already I mentioned you, though the principles are same, there are different ways. All the religions are all, everybody follows the same only. Nobody want to kill others, nobody want to cause pain, but fortunately or unfortunately or ignorance, they are doing that. To refrain them from these kinds of things, there must be some procedures. That may be a religious things, that may be a law and order. Some mechanisms should be there to improve the things in the society. So far, if you see what are the society, what are the principles we are having, during which time period, who are the reasons for this. So from BC onward, this thing, this correction of the things, as you know that Confucianism, it is the Chinese. They started in 384 to 322 BC. Later, Greece people, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, these are the related to the Greece and Greek. So they started working on the same, improving the morals in the society at their level. It may be a physical level or metaphysical level. Later, unilateralism come. Later, deontology come. Last, now we are defined in modern society. We are working with the justice theory. So various theory may be different, approaches may be different. We are all working towards the improving the morals, improving the ethical values. Finally, how to use the philosophy, since philosophy comprises one branch is nothing but the ethics, which is an important component. So this is the way how practical philosophy as well as the theoretical philosophy. Practical philosophy always concentrated on the good life. Theoretical philosophy, as you are doing research, the concentration of the theoretical philosophy is most of your things is the improving the knowledge on the ultimately how you are improving your your philosophical aspect to improve your research aspects by imbibing the morals related to the that already I have seen in your syllabus that were taught by other people. That content is also present. How to improve the uh, theoretical morals, theoretical research moral, and research writing principles. Everything I saw in your syllabus that will be taken care by others. So it includes everything: aesthetics, techniques, ethics. Again, at different level, macro level, micro level, or meso level, we have to follow different principles. Finally, all our objective should be we should build a good society with more wisdom and improving the knowledge part as well as the improving the wisdom finally. So what is the importance of the philosophy? Since by birth every human being is a philosophy of life, it gives the shape to his or her life. Since one's philosophy of life molds one's attitude as well as the conviction. The greatest advantage of the philosophy consists of our ability to make the human mind sharp and disciplined. Study of the philosophy gives depth in one's thinking and acting, so that our wisdom, as already I mentioned, we are going depth as well as in the horizontal way. So our understanding about various disciplines is increasing in horizontal way and vertical way, which improving our knowledge as well as finally our wisdom. So, being a philosopher, we are all after that we are all at a level we want to be a philosopher. So, our once we are more knowledgeable person and a wise person, or Any person who is she or he is not a person with quantitatively unlimited knowledge, but a person with a qualitatively open origin. We should have the knowledge at the same time at the outset. Quantitative way, we should get the more and more knowledge, and qualitatively, we should enable with various realms of the knowledge also. Philosophy is wisdom that enables a person to open out to knowledge, going beyond the limiting boundaries of the fragmentation. But nowadays we are seeing the other end of the society. Though more knowledge people also, they are not open in thought process. That should not be the objective of the philosophy. Once you want to be a philosopher, you should acquire the knowledge. That acquired knowledge should make you think in a unlimited, unboundary way of fragmentation. A philosopher is a wise person who is in constant search. That is the reason we are telling that we are doing research. We are constantly in search. He is always a seeker and always on the way to move away from the narrowness of our actual knowledge and thus to enter into the wide horizons of the wisdom. We should become the philosopher. So, characteristic of any good researcher, after once you are a good philosopher, you will become a good researcher also, since it is a continuous search process. Dedication you should have. You want to be a good philosopher, you must be a good researcher. You should have a dedication, commitment, consistency, patience, and good written communication you acquire. If you doesn't have the written communication, you should acquire that skill. You should have the domain knowledge, constant survey, constant study. You can improve your domain knowledge. You should have the good verbal communication. Finally, you should improve your creativity. Then you should become the good researcher. So thank you all for giving me this opportunity, sharing whatever I know a very little regarding this. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an informative session. The session consisting of various concepts like starting from the philosophy, types of philosophy, then characteristics of philosophy, as well as apart from that, another topic like ethics, types of ethics, then moral, each and every like logic, each and every concept you explained in detail, and we learned many things from this session, ma'am. Now I request participants if they have any query, they can ask or put it into the chat box.
One common question asked in every interview after you finished PhD is why engineering PhD are given Doctor of Philosophy, not Doctor of Engineering. So every one of you, sometime or the other time, you have to answer this: why Doctor of Philosophy?
I think this section has given the insight on that, sir.
Right,
When
right. And then
when
I'm just telling all
uh,
of them
if
most
they
general
apply
question.
if they apply branches of philosophy, there hierarchically we defined.
Yeah, yeah.
So the once they go through that, they will get the answer also.
Yes, yes, yes.
That is the beauty of Indian way of thought process, sir.
Correct, correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. I enjoyed this session.
Yeah, yeah.
During
Great,
this
man. Thank
session,
you.
I have gone to my old days, how to
Okay.
present the things, to put it your scholars. I traveled back once again.
Yes, yes. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Yes,
Anyone
Karan,
else has
yeah,
any
I don't think
questions,
any
I will
questions are there.
Ma'am, I have a question. Can I ask now?
Okay, madam.
Yeah. As ma'am, philosophy will change like with time as well as space. Depending on the space, depending on the time, things
Yes,
will
madam.
change. Yeah, and even the society, like depending on different society, they have different perspectives. Like
Yes.
one thing can be looked in different ways by every society. Like you have given an example of an abortion. So based on this the philosophy will the statements of philosophy or the core knowledge will go on changing a little bit based on time.
Yes, madam. Definitely. That only I mentioned. You see,
Yeah.
madam, good olden days, if you see our Indian society, good olden
Yes,
days, if you go, by that time abortion is a crime.
yes ma'am.
Nowadays, if we follow the same rule now, we may not find the earth for all. So based on the things, based on the time where we are living, we have to reframe the things, madam. You see one more aspect also, using a fridge. Once upon a time, using a fridge is a, they think that that is a harmful. Nowadays, if you are not using fridge, you may not generate the sufficient amount of the food for all the beings. That is going to become a social problem. So whenever there is a more food, we have to preserve it, but that should be done in a nice way. That's a logic and reasoning we have to apply. How to do the things, how to, is it a logical, is it a reasonable? There we have to definitely, for each and every aspect of our life, since your philosophy covers everything. It's a all-round development. It covers every aspect of a person as well as the society. So whatever you comes across, you have to apply your thought process, your reasoning, your logic. There you have to find in a way that rational thinking should be there. Logical, convenient answer you should get. Then you have to apply. So certain things, whichever good at our old society, we cannot apply the same as it is now. And if you go further, since nowadays are changing to data driven days, even law and order will also change. Once upon a time, you don't have the cyber crime, you don't have the cyber law. Now you are having the cyber law. There also your philosophy has to work. So everything, how societal changes taking place, based on that we have to apply our logic, we have to apply our reasoning, and we have to find the solutions. Finally, what we are doing by using this, doing research in the sense, finally what we are doing, we are generating the reasoning, we are generating the solutions to the problems.
Yes ma'am. And one more thing I want to ask, ma'am, like the philosophy, how it is like changing, it is generated, and then how it will be versioned. Uh, but a person cannot go without ethics, ethical thinking,
Yes.
ethical aspect. He has to always take care of whatever work he's doing, whatever kind, like how his day-to-day life or his work life, everywhere, like means ethical thinking is an, can we say, an integral part of philosophy also and any other work
That
too.
is the important branch of philosophy, madam. Ethics is
Yeah.
an important branch, one branch of philosophy. We defined seven branches. Out of that,
Yes.
ethics is an important branch.
Yes, it was a branch also, and apart from that, explicitly also ethics and its types you discussed, ma'am, today.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the way how your syllabus was given to me, madam. Ethics
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
given as a separate. But
Yeah.
research ethics, when we are coming to the research ethics, that topic I saw, the other, that is the reason I didn't cover it here. Somebody will cover, they may repeat ethics related to the research.
Research. Yeah.
That should be discussed in the entire class. The ethics as a researcher, from each part, starting from his research to the publication till the end of the submission, each phase, what is the ethical and moral things he has to follow, that should be discussed.
Yes,
What is the
ma'am.
publication ethics? What is the review ethics? Everything we have to again study, ma'am.
Some part of that we studied in research methodology also, ma'am. Little bit.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought that was given to somebody. That is the reason I didn't touch that, madam. I have to
But
touch in
yeah,
the societal aspect only.
apart from that, what was discussed today was very good, and it was good, informative, also detailed, and we enjoyed it, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. Sir, shall I leave, sir?
Yes, madam.
Okay, sir. Thank
Oh,
you, sir.
thank you, madam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. So we are done for the day, I think. The
Yes.
next session is cancelled. Yeah.
Okay, sir.